success of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sega knew they had a franchise on their hands, and a third installment was more than inevitable. But after an abandoned 3D iteration caused developers to start over from scratch, along with high ambitions for a much more massive game in general, Sonic 3 wouldn't be finished in time for the 1993 holiday season, as they intended. So to get a Sonic game on the market during that desired time frame, a side project for the Sega Genesis was greenlit and rushed to production. Based on the pinball segments during the Casino Night Zone of Sonic 2 fame, Sonic Spinball has the unique distinction of not only being a quasi-pinball game, but it also takes place in the universe of the animated series, although the only references to the show are cameo appearances by some of the characters in the bonus games. And maybe you could make the argument that Dr. Robotnik resembles the more sinister, dark iteration of the character, as opposed to the cartoonish buffoon he portrayed in previous games. The premise is that Robotnik has a fortress set up on a volcano with a pinball defense system, and is kidnapping animals all over Mobius and transforming them into robot minions, similar to previous Sonic games, only this time with a volcano fortress. Sonic and Tails attempt to infiltrate via plane, but they get blasted out of the air and Sonic gets washed up in the water and has to run the gauntlet that is the pinball defense system. The fortress is powered by Chaos Emeralds, so the objective in each stage is to retrieve them all, and the door to the boss room unlocks. The game isn't entirely pinball. There are limited moments of standard fare platforming, but a good 95% of the game is firing a rolled up into a ball Sonic all over the place using flippers. Strangely, enemies can't really kill you. They only hover overhead and get in your way. You'll lose a life in the more traditional sense as far as pinball is concerned, from falling between the flippers or through the side gaps. You can activate safety measures that will protect you from falling through those side gaps and send you back up into the main area. To make this happen, you have to hit targets that are nearby, usually between 2 to 4 targets for each area's safety measure. This is very useful for maximizing your life count, as you'll often find yourself falling down these sides by chance. While you don't have complete control of Sonic, you can steer him while he's dropping or bouncing off of something, and you can slow him down or speed him up while he's rolling along a slope. It's not exactly conventional, but it gives you more control than an actual game of pinball would. The platforming portions of the game aren't nearly as responsive as you're used to with Sonic games of old, but because you're generally just moving from point A to point B without anything really consequential going on, this isn't much of a problem. The graphics and animation are good, although not as refined as traditional Sonic games, and the same can be said for the music, which has some decent tunes, but they're not quite as polished as Sonic games of the past, and certainly not as memorable. The game is short, only 4 levels, but they're pretty time-consuming. And although, like I said, the physical enemies can't harm you, it's still a pretty difficult game. More frustrating than anything because it's not readily apparent what you have to do. It's a lot of trial and error. And even when you do figure out what you're supposed to do, you often have to land yourself in very precise spots, and it's not easy aiming. Sometimes an unlucky bounce or an off-timed flip or simply losing track of the quick pace can cause death, which is a maddening way to go, especially since there are no continues, and starting all over again is mentally draining. The game does throw you a bone with the crawl screen up top, much like a pinball machine, indicating bonus points and random shit like that, but sometimes it gives you hints on what your next objective is. It's a lot more rough around the edges than any Sonic game up to this point, but it's still a pretty fair time killer. So the game starts out with a cutscene of Sonic and Tails attempting to invade Robotnik's fortress, only to be shot out of the sky, and Sonic gets sent into the drink and flushed out into the sewer system. The first level is the Toxic Caves. In the first section, if you slip between the flippers, you've got a security blanket in this small platform, but the robot sea monster will pop out and try to eat you, so don't hang around. There are 2 targets for this area, both of them up here, but they're not necessary as you'll just be plunged back up by this thing. The first emerald is in this container that's inaccessible from down here, but before you find your way there, you have to drain the slime from it. Up top, there's a target. There's only one on the left side and one on the right. Steer yourself off these worms to hit them. Doesn't matter which one you go after first, pop the cork once they're both hit. And you'll also open up the lids on these pipes that'll send you to one of 2 other sections that are essentially mirror images of each other. So much so that, much like the previous objective, it doesn't matter which one you go to first. Slip between the flippers, and you'll land in a barrel that'll act as a little rowboat. Row your way to the center. If you're in the left section, row to the right, and if you're in the right section, row to the left. You'll come across the container you recently drained, and you've got your first emerald. You'll end up back in the first section, so make your way back to either of the two new sections. Once again, doesn't matter which. From here, first thing you gotta do is open up the track for a minecart you're gonna be using later. Send yourself up here to pull on this lever. Now to get to the cart. You can get there in one of two ways. Either you can head through this pipe and clear out the 3 barrels that are blocking your path, or you can go through this little area. After 3 passes, the little door thing will open. Either way, you'll be given access to this pipe, and you'll end up inside the minecart, and you can pick which side of the track to head down. If you opened up the track on the left side, head right, and vice versa. You'll be led to your second emerald, and the third is the same shit. Just go to the opposite section you cleared the first time, and once you've got all 3 emeralds, head back up as if you were going to go to the minecart, and you'll hit up the boss fight, the robotic scorpion. The funny thing about these boss battles is, much like the regular enemies, they can't kill you. The only thing that can happen is you fall between the flippers and end up at the earlier part of the level, or in turn you can die. Otherwise, you're mainly backtracking. Send yourself up here, and then simply hop under the tail targeting the red body. The tail will actually keep you on the offensive. Just do what you can to stay away from the gap. If you happen to get squeaked out of it, just send yourself back up and try again. After clearing the tail, you won't be able to use it to spam attack anymore, but you can still maintain control of yourself and get some consecutive shots in, and it doesn't take too many more hits to finish them off, and you'll have completed the first stage. Before you head to the next stage, you've got a bonus game that resembles, well, a regular pinball machine. In fact, look, Sonic is the one playing it. Here, your objective is to clear the targets in the back, and then smash Robotnik to win, and rack up some bonus points. You get 3 balls to accomplish this. The second level is the Lava Powerhouse. The first area is useless and dangerous, as you'll take a lava bath if you fall between the flippers. Same goes if you end up in the area east of here. It's a mirror image, basically. There are 4 targets up here that'll at least protect you from falling to your death through the sides. And same goes for the mirror image room on the other side. In between these 2 areas is a steam room. You can get in here by busting this door up here. Use a flipper to smash into it, or load yourself up into this gun over here. After a few reps, you'll open up the door, and traversing through it will send you rolling around in the steam room. Pressing any of the flipper buttons will trigger the steam. If you head east, you'll end up in the other useless lava room, but if you use the steam to shoot yourself up here and off one of these mother cluckers, you'll fire up the pipe and get the first emerald. Go back to the pipe, direct yourself away from the center, and then do a spin roll up here, and now you're in the northern steam room. Head in either direction, left or right. The areas here aren't exact mirror images, but they're basically the same, and they both have the same objective. The room on the left has 2 targets up top, and the room on the right has 3, both of which just protect you from being sent down to the main area, so this just prevents backtracking. Follow these colored lights to this nook. You'll need to press this button 3 times to open up the path. Enter it, and quickly blow the steam on the other side to send you upwards here for the next emerald. I didn't notice these fucking steam guns for the longest time. I just kept dropping back down into the southern steam room. I don't know if that's a case of me not being observant enough, or if this was some cryptic bullshit. Either way, go back up to the northern steam room and to the opposite section of the one you just used to get the second emerald, and repeat the same process on this side. The room on the left has the nook on the right side of the room, and the room on the right has the nook on the left side. Once you've got your third emerald, it's on to the boss. Go back up to the northern steam room and fire your way up one of these pipes. The boss is a bowl of 4 boiling robotic heads. Swing your way around it, just don't stand on this little platform for too long or you'll drop. Get yourself inside the bowl and smash the heads. Enough hits on one of the heads will eliminate it from the equation, and you'll drop out of the bowl, starting the process again. You can also attack the head in the bottom center of the bowl as it's exposed, but you also run the risk of dropping down the center, which doesn't necessarily kill you, but it can. You'll drop all the way to the bottom portion of the level, hanging from a chain over some lava. You'll have to swing your way out of it, and then make your way all the way back up again in order to continue fighting. If you take too long on the chain, or press any of the flipper buttons without swinging, you'll drop into the lava and die. Once you take out all 4 heads, the boiling bowl is destroyed, and the level is clear. The bonus round sees Sonic playing dentist, as the object is to knock out all the teeth from the Robotnik head that traverses back and forth. The targets on the back provide some bonus points too. Once all the teeth are gone, you win. The third level is the machine, and this time you need to find 5 emeralds before meeting the boss. The first emerald is easy to attain, and it's right off the friggin' bat. There are 2 areas lined up side by side. You'll start off being automatically warped to the one on the right, which is where the emerald is. Just don't fall between the flippers or you're dead. There are 2 targets in the left area, one in the upper right hand corner and one in the upper left. And there's only 1 target in the right area, in the upper left hand corner. When you're in the room on the right, simply fire yourself along these arrows and you've got the emerald. It's a pretty tight space, but keep plugging and you'll end up getting it. You'll then be sent through a tube into this weird narrow section with 1 flipper and some enemies above. The next emerald is right up here too, but you don't have enough height to reach it, even if you miss the enemies. But if you keep the flipper up and stabilize yourself, this pulley will send you up and give you enough height to reach the top platform, another cryptic element of the game. I know it says do the flipper catch on the crawl screen, but how the hell am I supposed to know what that means? I'm not privy to pinball lingo. Just make sure that when you do this, you sail past these fuckers, otherwise you'll be sent all the way to the bottom and have to raise yourself up again. Slip down here, grab the second emerald, and you'll be sent into this bumper room called the Animal Prison, where you attain bonus points by smashing the bumpers and freeing the little animals. The third emerald is located in here, hidden in one of the bumpers in the center. You'll have to launch yourself up into the bumpers and bounce your way to the middle. Steering yourself in this mess is a goddamn nightmare. You basically just have to luck out and eventually smash the emerald out of place. Maneuver your way down here where it lands and you've got 3 of them, 2 more to go. The 4th one is in the same room. If you drop to the launcher on the left side, make your way around the bumpers and steer yourself down this tube and you've got the 4th one. You'll then be sent to the tall, narrow section on the left side where you once again need to do the flipper catch. Use the launchers on the left or right side to get yourself onto the flipper. If you drop into the center one, make sure you send the flipper up to get it out of your way. Otherwise, you'll be sent down the tube and into the main area. The pulley will take you way the hell up here. Stop yourself at the 4th set of arrows by releasing the flipper button, and you'll have to clear out this prick first. Then put yourself back onto the flipper and raise back up to the same spot. Launch through here where you'll get the 5th and final emerald. Now onto the boss. You'll be sent back to the animal prison from here. Drop your way back to the tall and narrow section, do the flipper catch, and this time launch yourself up here. Use the platform to line yourself up with the space here and launch your way up. Then smash the bird on the left to open up the bridge for this launcher to send you up here for the boss fight. This machine in the middle is what's transforming the animals into robots, and they'll block you from getting into the machine and breaking it. You have to stop the transformations, so launch yourself over here to break the tubes apart. It's 1 on each side. Once they're both destroyed, there's no more bullshit in your way. Just send yourself up the middle and smash up the machine. Just make sure to steer yourself away if you drop out of it so you don't fall down the center or you'll end up back in the animal prison and have to backtrack. After enough hits, the machine is destroyed. The bonus pinball game has all these chicken robots who resemble Scratch from the cartoon series wandering around a machine you need to destroy. Wipe them out, and you can take the machine apart piece by piece. You win the round when the machine is blown up. The 4th and final level is the showdown. Robotnik's fortress starts collapsing into the water, and he takes off in his ship, where Sonic stows away. Like the machine stage, you'll need 5 emeralds to reach the boss. The first area you're in has 3 targets on the left that protect you from the left side drop, and 3 targets on the right that do the same on that side. The emerald is straight up the center, but you have to clear the 4 blocks that are barricading it by squeezing your way in this tight gap right next to it, pressing the button that clears 1 block at a time. When you're shooting for the button that clears out the blocks, you may miss and end up going up this tube and out of the room. Now the only way to get back into the main room is down here. If you go down the left side, go to the far left in this fork. It'll send you back to the main room, as opposed to a whole different room which we'll get into later. And if you're on the right side, it's the opposite. Head down the right fork and you'll come down to the center. Keep this going, wiping out the blocks, and when it's all clear, head up the center and you've got your first emerald. Now go back up and out of the room through the top and head in either direction. It really doesn't matter, because you're going to need to go both ways anyway. If you go left, you'll roll right past your next emerald and into a new area. Just make sure you take the path on the right here, otherwise you'll be rolled back to the main area at the beginning. Send yourself in this direction to clear the 3 blocks next to it, similar to the recent excavation. Once they're all cleared, send yourself up and this giant sock will send you straight to the emerald. Go back to this area the same way you came in and send yourself up here following the arrows. Bang a left and you'll drop onto the standalone platform. Pull this lever and a flipper will appear. Follow the arrows and you'll get the 3rd emerald. You'll drop back into the area you were at. Send yourself back up where you've got the 2nd emerald through the sock, and then head down the left path so you can go back to the main area. Go back up the center and head right. Again, you can do this in reverse order if you want to, taking care of the right side first and left side second. Take the left path so you'll fall into the area on the right. Follow the arrows this way to take out the hornet, and then again to pull the lever which opens up this area. Roll yourself this way and you'll get the 4th emerald. 1 more left. Now head to the right and drop down onto this platform, and much like before, you pull on this lever to summon the flipper, and following the arrows brings you to the 5th and final emerald. Go back to the main area and head up the center. You'll have to use these extremely slow dropping bombs as a means to get up to the ship. If you drop down, you'll have to make your way back up all over again. Your objective is to get on top of him and smash the glass housing Robotnik, but you've got these socks blocking the way. To clear them, you'll need to push the button in the center underneath him 5 times, use the flippers, and then steer yourself away from the center so you don't drop yourself down the middle or you'll have to climb all the way back up again. On top of that, the area is only cleared for a certain amount of time before the socks re-emerge and you have to smash the damn thing 5 times all over again. And to make matters even worse, the socks will fire you off into these blue bumpers that'll break off after 3 shots, which send you all the way back to the bottom of the level again outside this random part of the level you never see. To avoid that shit, watch out for the crawl screen. When it says, "Smell my socks," that means the socks are back. Keep this going until it's destroyed and Robotnik is defeated. Sonic and Robotnik fall from the sky, but Tails catches him with the plane, similar to the end of Sonic 2, whilst Robotnik falls into the fortress just as it sinks into the ocean, presumably to his death, and the credits roll. Sonic Spinball didn't quite catch on enough to become its own spin-off franchise, but Sonic 3 would be released only a few months after this. We'll get around to that one sooner than later. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.